broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Ooh.
That's a new one.
Parisian?
I don't know. Is that for the British version?
It must be.
Probably.
All right, yeah.
It's okay, change it up, right?
It works.
Which I need to watch that one anyway, because
Yeah,
they say it's great.
Yeah, I think it's on, is it on Netflix? I think it's on Netflix. I could be wrong, though. I know I saw it somewhere yesterday when I was searching for it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in with us again this week for Shameless Season 5, Episode 4. This episode is called A Night to Remember... Wait, what? I am your host for tonight. My name is Joyce, and I'm joined by the lovely JJ Jurgens.
Hi, guys.
And Hayley Clover.
Hello, everyone.
If you've joined us this week, that probably means you're subscribed. If not, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you guys can come join us every single week to watch our after show, because we love to talk all things Shameless. We're huge fans, and every week we have something new to say. So until our next episode comes out, go ahead and follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at JJ Ajouri. That's JAJOURI. And JJ, where can we find you?
I'm at JJ Jurgens.
And I'm at Hayley Clover on Twitter and Instagram.
Cool. So keep in touch with us, y'all. All right, let's get started on this episode. This one was really good. I liked how different it was in terms of editing and composition. Like, we got some flashbacks from Frank's moments. What do you guys think?
Yeah, lots of stuff going on in this episode. I really like, we were talking before, how there are so many different storylines with all the characters, growing up and developing different, side stories that I find it really interesting, because even if you're not into one, there's just something kind of for everybody, I feel like, lately.
Yeah, never a dull moment.
I thought Frank's story this week was my favorite. I know we'll talk about that. He never ceases to amaze me with how idiotic he can be. I mean, he's just crazy, but he's so funny.
He is.
He's so funny.
He's so funny. William H. Macy is an amazing actor. I mean, this episode made me feel so bad for Frank. I mean, he's just stuck in this rut, and he keeps going back to his old ways just when he thinks he has life by the horns. It doesn't work out, but, he's got a crazy storyline today. We'll get to him. He's probably the best, so we'll save the best for last.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll get to him later, but we should start off with Carl. He had kind of a small part this episode, but we see him start off getting ready, getting dressed, and putting on a gold grill. I'm like, what is he up to now? I mean, he's still on his crutches. He still has the cast on his leg, but he's mobile. He's doing things, crazy things.
Yeah, we find out he's getting a job, and we know it's not going to be probably a very legitimate job. We guess.
He tells Debbie and Fiona he's working at a fruit market,
Yeah.
right? As a fruit vendor, and Debbie says, "You just said that because you picked up a banana."
Little do they know, he's going to start slinging drugs.
Yeah.
Or,
Trying to.
Yeah. So far, failing miserably. But he gets ready, he goes out, and he's on the sidewalk under a bridge. Under a freeway overpass, I guess, and he meets these kids who are also selling drugs, but they're sort of like the headmasters of it all, like in their division. I don't know how these things work, so I don't know the lingo, so I'm probably going to get made fun of for it.
Right? Yeah.
But speaking of lingo, he doesn't really know much about the whole drug trade and the drug world and what each word means in terms of like how they correlate with how much weight you can give a guy, like how much weight in drugs and what you should get paid for that. So he kind of gets in trouble with that.
I like seeing his outfit transitions, because I like seeing him try to dress up all gangster and be tough, and then I believe it was G-Dog that pulled up and was like, no, I need you to dress like the harmless little white boy.
Yeah, right. Like, we need someone people aren't going to be scared of. Like, you're on crutches, so you should probably just wear khakis and a polo.
Yeah. So then, so then he's in the little prep school out, prep boy with his combed over hair.
And he looks so cute. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He does. Kids got to make money,
Well, he ends up losing money.
It's true.
And I think they're dealing cocaine. I think that's what I got.
Like
yeah.
it.
And he, gave whatever the amount was, and then the kid was like, so how much did you get for that? And he only gets $20 and gave, dealt this guy what should have been at least $120.
Yeah.
And so now he owes this group of guys $100 and he doesn't have the money, so we'll see how he gets that.
As we know, that's really risky, and like the kid threatened Carl. He said people like us get shot for not getting enough money.
right.
So Carl's kind of in a bind in this episode at this point. I feel like he doesn't quite know how imperative it is to really like pay up as soon as possible, because the rest of the episode he's kind of like gliding along with Frank, and he tries to ask Frank for money, but that's kind of it. So I hope Carl like gets the sense of urgency.
Yeah,
because he's in danger now.
Yeah. Well, and interesting too. That of course, he goes to Frank for help, and then Frank is the one schooling him on what the ounces are worth and what the levels
what
of the
each
drugs
term
are.
means, and how much it weighs.
Well, and that's what
like
kills me about all of them. They're all so smart, and they're smart in their own little ways. Like with Frank, we see, he just lists off a ton of different, and I mean, maybe it's something you can memorize, but that's not just something that like everyone can just remember,
Yeah.
I mean, Lip's like the only one that we ever see actually using his intelligence, I guess.
His book smarts anyway.
Yeah, but I think they're all smart.
They're all brilliant kids, for sure. And I just like how Frank's wisdom that he imparts on Carl is about drugs, which, I mean, that's the world he knows. And if Carl's got to survive in that world, he's got to know these things. So I'm kind of glad Frank was there to guide him along.
At least he got serious about it, got the flashcards out. We see him trying to cram with drug
I
flashcards
know.
at the end.
At the end, he's under his sheets. He's got a flashlight and he's just trying to figure it out. Well, I hope he does.
Yeah. I mean, Carl's at least bonding with Frank. He's the one character that I think continues to try to go back and get to know Frank a little better, which is, I think is great. Maybe they're not bonding, doing the right things, but at least there's some kind of relationship, father-son relationship there.
I mean, the ballsy on his part that he's willing to do that after Frank burnt him so badly in previous seasons, you know?
Very true.
Yeah, I guess at this point they're just like, this is my life. This is my dad.
He's forgiven him.
Yeah, get what I can out of him and have whatever relationship I can have. Speaking of relationships, Mickey and Ian, let's move on to them. Their scenes were funny at first. Like, when, so they, was it Mickey? Yeah, he got the first lost luggage delivered to the door. So they're like lost luggage thieves in this episode. And I love the part where he opens up the suitcase as Ian walks in. And I love how Ian doesn't get it at first. Like, oh, you did this on purpose, Yeah.
Right.
So when Ian first sees Mickey getting that luggage, he's like, what, you went on a trip? He's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. So he kind of catches on and knows what Mickey's doing. But I love when Mickey opens his suitcase and pulls out the Hawaiian shirt. And he's like, is this sexy? Huh? Yeah.
I did too, and I like that we saw him then wearing it seated at the bar.
Yeah,
a couple scenes
later on.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So Ian sees Mickey do this once, and then Ian goes and does it again and gets a couple more suitcases because they figure they could find a few things they could sell or a few things they could own. But Ian finds like a giant dildo in one of the suitcases and starts chasing Mickey. I was like, ew.
That one made me really laugh because I was just thinking about like how many dildos are on that set. Like, and I don't know why my brain went there. I mean, because there are everywhere. But I'm like, God, I wonder like if one of their giveaways, like, is signed dildos.
Yeah.
Like, they're just
that and how many actual people travel with dildos.
I thought of that too. Like,
I'm sure more people
Plenty.
than you think.
Yeah,
probably,
sure.
but you think wouldn't that? I mean, they gotta check your luggage for that, right? Like one that
well,
size,
it's not
like
illegal.
I don't think
it's not illegal, but I mean,
be used
if
as
that
a weapon.
if that goes out when you put it through the little X-ray thing, and
But this was luggage that was checked in, it seems. So they don't
right.
necessarily like
that's true.
Go
do a
through
lot of
the
carry-on.
baggage check or whatever
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
called, the TSA or something.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that's how you can get away with it. So note to self: how to get away with sex toys while you're
At the
traveling. But it's interesting because we see Ian's sort of manic highs come into this episode
Yeah.
with, in the form of this luggage thievery. He starts off a little bit after Mickey gets the luggage and gets a few more, but then towards the end of the episode, we see Ian really get crazy with this whole thing. And we come into Mickey's house again at the end of the episode, and it's just full of people's luggage, and it's almost like he's got these hoarding and OCD tendencies with this whole thing, and he's probably not quite sure why he's doing all this.
I think part of it too is I think he likes the thrill, because they said you can get caught for this and get in a lot of trouble, and he just I think part of that is feeding his desire to do it.
And he feels pretty confident in all this. Like, he's not going to get caught. He's wearing the suit that he stole from the suitcase. I mean, it's just, to him, it's like just another adventure, and it doesn't matter what the consequences are. So it was interesting to see Mickey kind of realize that maybe he's taking on more than he can handle taking care of Ian.
Yeah, I think he definitely had a realization that, he might not be okay.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to deal with it himself instead of getting him help, but I think he's starting to finally realize, especially because he's now hanging out with Svetlana, who's wearing the clothes that they found in those suitcases. She has like a gown on with this fur, this fur like mink thing.
She's enjoying it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too, Ian probably saw that Mickey liked the feeling of his first suitcase, and so then maybe with his, illness, it's kind of like, oh, well, he really liked that, so I can do this a lot more, and I should keep doing this. And
where he sees it as okay.
Right.
But this is way more than Mickey imagined he would take on.
Yeah.
Well, and even Mickey told him that he can get in trouble. Like, this needs to stop. Eventually, they're going to see that he keeps coming back to the airport to grab more suitcases.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
And
We'll
Mickey's
see.
probably like, he probably really does need medication, but who knows how long it will be before he decides to ask Fiona for help in taking care of Ian, or like actually giving in and taking him to the doctor or the hospital. That's going to cause a lot of drama between the two of them. Ooh, prediction.
There you go. We really don't see
Couldn't think of
Mickey
one.
interact with Fiona
No.
at all. They all bring their girlfriends over, or their girlfriends have, lived in the house, and Fiona always has guys over, but Ian never brings Mickey over, which is something I kind of just,
That's
thought
true.
of. They really don't interact much.
No, I think she sort of
Too
just
often.
separates herself from the whole Milkovich clan. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's because like she doesn't like them per se. They probably just, there's no reason for it really. And Ian
Yeah.
never really brings Mickey around
Yeah,
either.
well, that's,
so yeah,
that's what I mean.
yeah, that's true. Well, hopefully Ian
Who
will
knows? We'll
come
see.
out of all of this. But what else? Do you guys have anything else to add about Ian and Mickey?
I don't think so.
I just loved Svetlana sitting on top of all the mountain of luggage.
Yeah.
At the end, she's just like chilling, like, all right,
Yeah.
your redhead boy's gone crazy. But yeah, poor Ian. Speaking of redheads, we've got Debs. She had a fun storyline today.
I loved
Yeah.
her this episode.
Yeah. She's coming out. She's coming out on her own.
She's gaining a little more confidence.
Yeah.
Episode.
Oh yeah, totally. And I love seeing this side of her come out. I mean, we catch her first. First of all, she's with Carl in the beginning. We saw them interact and everything. But then we see her coming out of, I'm not sure what store. She's coming out of a market, and then she runs into Holly and 3 other girls. And as we know, they've had some sort of beef the past few episodes.
Yeah.
So then Holly starts making fun of her, calling her a rapist, because we know that, she basically raped Maddie to have sex with him.
Yeah.
And instead of taking it, instead of, sulking off, Debs just straight up punches Holly in the face.
Loved it.
I was like,
Good punch.
hell yes.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
Debs. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But right as the fight starts happening, as Debs is on her back on the ground, we see this like handsome, lean, muscular guy run up and save the day. We'll just stop the fight anyway. I don't think he was really trying to save Debs per se, but he gave her some advice. He said next time you try to take on a fight, make sure that you have better skills because they're pathetic.
Right. Well, especially because there were 4 girls.
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
on one fight. Deb's like, whatever, got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, which good for her for having the guts to do that against 4 of them. But yeah, I think then afterwards she got a little more than she bargained for. But
Yeah.
I love this. I saw her tweet pictures of that out about 2 weeks ago, so I was wondering what we were going to see because it was her and Derek, with the boy. So yeah, and I thought it was a really sweet moment when she was genuinely like just shocked and just like, so nobody's ever done anything like that for her before.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a cute moment of her too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she
feeling
kind of
like
got
she
flustered. With
yeah,
like,
yeah.
with gratefulness and like you could tell she was immediately attracted to
Yeah.
it. So his name is
Yeah.
Derek on the show.
Yes.
I missed that completely. I called him Boxer Boy this whole time because I didn't catch his name at all. But she sees him run off, and on the back of his shirt is Reflex Athletics, and she's like, "What is that?" And she basically stalked him and found the place. But he didn't take it so strangely that she came over and asked about fighting and whatnot. But he doesn't really seem to tell the truth much.
I know, I haven't figured him out. He makes these funny jokes. Deb was asking him how he learned how to fight, and he was like, in juvie. And then he was like, nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But then she's, fighting with the girls later, learning techniques and everything about boxing, and then ends up, just totally kicking that girl in the shin and punching her in the face. And the teacher is like super upset, but then he's in the background and you can see him just like smirk a little bit. So it's like, what does he actually want? Because he puts on a front like she needs to know how to fight, but then kind of likes that she's just spontaneous and a little crazy.
Yeah.
So,
A little unpredictable.
yeah.
Kind of like him a little. And he also lies again when she asked him, why did you want to learn to fight? And then he said, well, because my dad was abusive to my mom. In order to protect her, I wanted to learn how to fight. And that's again, he was like, nah, just kidding.
Right.
And she you could tell she got kind of tired of it. She's like,
Yeah.
it's BS. Like, this guy's BS.
So
Yeah.
what is his story?
What is his story? I don't know. But I can't wait to find out.
I know, me too. I like him. I think he's a little cutie for her.
Yeah, I think so too. But she also in the beginning of the episode told Fiona that she wanted to start, taking birth control.
Well, that's what I know. She said, Fiona said they were going to make an appointment for her to go to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
So I didn't know whether when she was first walking out with that bag before she got in a fight, I didn't know if that was Planned Parenthood. I thought it could have
Possibly.
been, but I figured she might have gone with Fiona. So I don't know exactly.
It might have been. You never
Yeah.
know. I mean, yeah, she probably would have gone with her if anything.
Yeah. That was
But-
one editing. You know how sometimes you notice editing in the shows where they have something and then all of a sudden they come back and they don't have it anymore?
Yeah.
She drops that bag after the fight and doesn't pick it back up. And I was like, oh, you left your bag.
Continuity error, guys. Continuity error.
She was too caught
She
up
just
in the
didn't care.
fighting.
It was just a candy bar and she didn't need it anymore.
But again, this episode we kind of see her and Fiona bond, and she still has that openness with her that we saw last episode after she told her that she lost her virginity. So it's
Right.
continuing, which I like. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's all I got for Debs.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add?
No.
Nope.
She's
No,
so cute. She
she's
actually on Instagram she she Instagrammed a screenshot of that scene where she punches Holly. She's like, "Go Debs!" So it's cool to see Emma Rose Kenny really believe in her character, and really appreciate that she's growing.
Right.
That's
She's
what I
got
from
such a
there.
fun season so far.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So I'm sure she really likes, last year she had the all transitioning to growing up, but now even going steps further this
Right.
year. So
Yeah.
it's got to be really fun for
Do
her.
we know how
to
old she
play.
is in real life? I think
She
they're
was
fairly
in
similar
here last
to
year. I
the-
can't remember what she told
know,
us.
I wasn't here that
She told
day.
us.
I'm going to assume she's at least Deb's age.
Well, I think
right? I think she's 14.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're similar.
Yeah.
Oh my
Similar
gosh.
in age, but I
Yeah,
think
they
that's pretty
definitely are
cool
similar.
to grow up kind of as two different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they are the same age, you grow up with one, family, your non-acting family,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
your
It's like
your
you're
cast
actually-
family. It's kind of cool that she has two
Yeah.
different personalities.
You're actually in another teenager's shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
It's cool.
Speaking of two, of one, I don't know if that's even a good segue, but I'm thinking of V and Kev's twins. let's talk about V and Kev right now. We already know that, Amy and Gemma, they're twins. Like, they're pretty much taken care of by Kev at this point. V is very much into, wanting her old life back, and she's working to make ends meet and everything. And she's struggling with the fact that her and Kevin aren't having sex. They're not the same that they used to be. Kevin is okay with the life they have right now. He's enjoying fatherhood, and he wants V to be in on this, but he doesn't seem to be resentful towards her about it, at least not until today. Or yesterday. I keep saying today, but the show aired yesterday. So we know that V really wants to go out and have fun with Kevin. So they were in the process of interviewing a babysitter, which Kev didn't feel comfortable with because the kids were too young, and he didn't want to leave their kids with a complete stranger. So she's like, whatever. She's like, babysitter can go home. She's like, I want to go party on my own. Instead of having Kev go to the club with her, she calls up Fiona, and they, have a plan to go clubbing.
Partners in crime.
Exactly. But only clubbing for 5 minutes, which is
all it took.
Yep.
All it took was 5 minutes. Yeah. So Fiona and V go to the club. They get a couple drinks. Actually, V didn't even drink yet at this point.
No,
she's went
Fiona
straight to
asked
the
her what
dinner
she
thing.
wants, and vodka soda, and Fiona's like, vodka.
Yeah.
And then heads right to the
And I love how we see that V has a type. Like, she approached the guy that kind of resembles Kevin to me. Like,
Yeah, a little bit.
Tall dude, really handsome, and just, he's like ready for some V dancing, some V love. So she goes up to him and starts grinding his leg. But she, at first, like she said before, she didn't intend to have that happen. Like, going to the club, she didn't really expect that to happen. But once it was happening, she kept grinding on his leg and orgasm in 30 seconds. It took no time at all.
Yeah.
It was awesome though. Like, her facial expressions were so great.
Yeah.
Like,
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just
she
knew where it was going.
She's definitely
And,
enjoying that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she definitely didn't stop herself. And then after it happened, she's like, all right, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, she felt guilty as soon as it was over. But
Yeah.
in that moment, she's like, this is what I need. This is what I've been missing. This is what Kev's not giving me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and I think in her brain, she's like, well, it's harmless because I'm, fully dressed. We're just dancing. And I shouldn't be doing this, but this feels good. And I kind of really want to feel that orgasm again.
exactly.
She's
I mean,
going for it.
I think this is where it kind of gets confusing for V and probably for Kev later on. Like, was it cheating for her? I know Drea sort of posed that question last week. She's like, is V cheating this episode? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's so hard.
It is hard.
Because it's such a, what is the word, objective? It's such an objective thing. I mean, there's a line, obviously, that you can't cross.
Yeah.
But in this case, we've always known V to be super loyal to Kev and vice versa.
Yeah.
And Kev is the bee's knees to V. But at this point,
This one for me, I guess I probably would have to go ahead and say it probably is cheating, just because I think if you, kiss somebody on the dance floor right there, I would call it cheating.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess if you have an orgasm, I will call it cheating
Yeah.
too.
That almost might be a little worse.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But, in typical their fashion, though, I think the way she handles it, to me, makes it, I definitely don't think it's a cheating offense that warrants separation or divorce on my cheating scale.
it's something that
I'm usually very strict
Glad you
about
have one.
I do. Like, my parents, the cheating happened in my family, so I'm a strict one on cheating, you're out. But on
Right.
that one, and meaning that she kind of really didn't mean to, and she was just trying to just dance. She didn't go out there with the intent of trying to, do that, and just kind of got caught in the moment.
Maybe it would've been different.
I would give her a pass on that one.
And maybe it would have been different if she stayed and continued
Yes.
dancing and had fun and didn't
Yes.
realize that, that should not have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that she tells him right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I commend her for being honest.
She fesses up.
Yeah.
She tells him. I mean, I feel like their relationship, despite how rocky it is at this point, is still really strong. I feel like they've been through enough where they can fight through it, where there will be a rift for some point, but I like to think that Kevin V will overcome this. I mean, it's something that could easily be fixed if they really try.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I follow Shanola Hampton, I'm sure you guys do, who plays V on Twitter, and her fans, it was I would say 50-50 on yes cheating, no it wasn't cheating. So I'll be really interested to see what
Yeah.
our fans say and what they what they think.
Yeah. I'm
it's
interested.
difficult.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I mean,
Yeah.
you watch the show, you're watching along or talking along with us, so let us know what you think. I mean, I don't know either. I'm a little torn because it wasn't intentional, and she did leave right after, and she knows it was wrong. And I know she never wants to hurt Kev in that way. But clearly that look on his face at the end, I mean, he was devastated.
Yeah.
You could see it in his
Yeah.
face.
Well, and I like the fact that she brought up, and I mean, I wrote that down as one of my quotes. I like that she said that was a cry for help from my coochie saying things ain't right at home.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it ultimately it did get them. It's going to get them to the point of addressing what they really need to address. I mean, it's a very normal situation what they're going through. It, which I mean, I don't have kids, but I've heard that a lot of people go through things like this. You know, and so I think it's something that they have to find a way to make the balance between being parents, but then still also having dates and still having sex and still having those kind of things in the relationship and not making it all about the kids all the time.
It's going to be a compromise for both of them. Both of them are doing things that are going to, you know, that will make the other happier if they, you know, fix things. Kev needs to let go a little bit and let somebody take care of the kids, and I think she needs to help a little bit more with the kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
personally, I think she's avoiding it a little bit. I mean, Kev hasn't even been to the bar. It's all her now, and that was like his life, so it's a little weird to see them completely switch. So I think they need to, you know, start compromising on.
That's true.
And Kev might throw her a bone because letting your baby suck off some other girl's nipple is also kind
Right,
of
it's not
nasty.
like he hasn't done anything weird either. So.
Right, yeah.
It's very true.
They're
Yeah.
both not getting what they want out of this whole situation. You're right. They do need to meet in the middle for sure. But I feel like at this point, V's doing most of the complaining.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
she's definitely
she's
the
not-
most vocal, which I think she needs to be in order to, you know, Kevin understand that, you know, this is what I'm feeling. This my coochie needs you. Like I need
Right.
this.
Right.
So-
He is being a very good father, though. I will
Totally.
give him that when
Yeah.
he goes through the whole
Totally.
scene where we see him saying, you know, Gemma, if she eats
Grapes.
she has diarrhea,
Yeah.
but, you know, the other one
And
doesn't.
he knows their cries. He could distinguish them by their cries.
when they wake up. Yeah, so he's being a very, very good father, which is also awesome to see.
Yeah. Good for him. I totally commend him for that too.
Yeah.
He's awesome. But man, that look he gave just made me it made me so sad for him. I know he's bummed. He's so bummed. But let's see. That's all I have here for those guys. Let's jump on over to Lip and Amanda.
Yeah.
They're in Miami. Lip is visiting Amanda in Miami. She flew him out there, and she also got him a limo back to her house.
He's in shock.
Yeah.
Utter
Yeah.
shock of everything he's seeing.
I mean,
Their
if
giant house.
college wasn't a culture shock enough, like
Right.
being in a beautiful, rich home in a pretty nice city, I mean, that's definitely a culture shock for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he shows up, and she gives him a tour of the empty house because her parents aren't home yet, and the house is just gorgeous. It's amazing.
Insane.
It's beautiful. But the first place they go to, well, after the swimming pool and stuff, is her parents' bedroom. At first, I thought it was her room. I was like, oh, that's so nice. But she did not hesitate to tell him, like, let's have sex in my parents' bed before they get here. And I forgot that this was a thing, but she basically hasn't had vaginal sex ever.
Right.
Yeah.
So technically, she's still a virgin. I mean, and, you know, last season, she only really did, like, oral and pretty much
Right.
everything else.
Right.
But here she is asking Lip to just, you know, I'm not going to marry you. Like, you know, I like you, but let me practice for, you know, the man I end up marrying, because that was my pledge to him. So
Which interesting because well, first thing that she's also posting all this stuff on Facebook
Yeah.
and like, oh, my Facebook people say
Right,
if I
like-
do all that, then it doesn't matter if I save myself.
yeah, he's like, why do you post that?
TMI, girl.
Yeah, but you know, I think it kind of answered some of our questions too. I think either last week or the week before, we were asking what we thought about their relationship, if they were gonna, you know, be serious and try to stay through the summer and thing. And I got this sense from the one episode when they were leaving school that I felt like she did want more from him, you know. So, but apparently I was wrong, and because in this one she makes it pretty clear that she is all just more out for fun and you know,
Yeah.
that we're not gonna get married and just. I don't. Just, yeah,
Maybe.
in for the good time.
Yeah,
see?
Because
Yeah.
because when he starts bonding with her dad, which I did not think was going to
Yeah.
happen, because Lip gets there and he still makes jokes like, "Do you have my $10,000?" you know,
And he
still,
locks the liquor
like,
cabinet.
Exactly. But then he realizes that Lip's very smart. He wants to be an engineer and a mechanical engineer or aerospace. You know, he has robotics, a bunch of different interests, but that's what the dad does.
They have that in common.
So they start bonding, and then when she walks out of the garage after watching them look at all of the dad's inventions, she gives this like smile, like
She's happy that they're getting along.
Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't think this was going to happen, and that's kind of why I think she wants it a little more than she leads on.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, she even told him, "I like you." You know, there's no secret to that. And, you know, why would she go through all the trouble to, like, have him fly out to Miami, other than, you know, terrorizing her parents?
Right.
But still, there's something to say about, you know, the fact that she's happy to see him, and, you know, that smile that she gave when she walked out of the garage. And the fact that she's always trying to take him away for cocktails. That family likes their cocktails, which is great. But I was surprised, too, by the fact he was bonding with the dad.
Yeah, I did not see that one coming at all.
cool.
I like it because he offers him a paid internship already for the next summer. He says, "I'll help you find one." It's, you know, another step for Lip to finding the career he really wants.
Which is what made Lip sort of realize, like, because the dad said, you know, you're in a very serious class or profession choice, and Lip sort of was kind of taken aback by that. I think it was a slap in the face, like, holy crap, I'm going this route that I never thought I'd ever go.
Right.
And I'm in this beautiful house with a rich family who could potentially be people that could hook me up with this new life. And it's kind of to him like, oh my God, like, do I really want that? You know?
Right.
So that, I feel like in this episode, every single like pair of people had like a look on their face, like at the end of their scene, where I'm just like, oh my God, they're realizing something here. But yeah, speaking of the dad, he's played by Ian Khan, who is also on AMC's Turn, which was a good show that first aired last year, first season. He was here in studio with us in one of our Turn podcast episodes. So he was really cool. He plays George Washington in Turn. Ian Khan's a really nice guy. So if you're watching this, come on our show.
Come back.
We'll try to get him on here. He's really cool. Maybe he'll come back. But yeah, so we've got Amanda's family, and we meet her two younger sisters who both have their own nannies.
Yeah, that was really funny. Lip's like, do they really both need a nanny?
Yeah.
Like, that was a little much, maybe, but I guess if you got the money,
and
do with it what you want.
it just dawned on me that the dad is the only male in that family, because she has an older sister as well. So for someone to come along, you know, as a male figure in the house other than himself, and who also shares his same passions, that was like really exciting for him. So
And we can't forget that the dad whips out a blunt. Under the the potted plant with his whatever
new styrofoam alternative invention.
Right, and I think Lip's like, yes, like, this is great. I'm so excited. And he's finally like, we're not so different, you and I.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was really funny. He was not expecting that at all.
No.
But yeah, I think the dad is pretty cool. I think he's going to play a role in maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, helping his career out. I hope.
Helping his career. I hope he takes that offer.
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah, that's it for Lip and Amanda. Another couple that we need to talk about is Fiona and Gus. Holy crap.
Fiona.
Holy crap.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. You start.
What?
Lead us off. We were talking about this a little earlier. It was like too hard not to discuss it before we got to this panel.
Tell me.
I don't know how I feel about. Okay, I do know how I feel. She shouldn't have gotten married. I think it was good for the show because it was shocking, but she already regrets it. You can tell at the end. She's like washing whatever is in the sink once they get back to Gus's apartment, and she's like, what did I just do?
I don't know if she necessarily regretted it, but I think through the whole time she did not think about her family.
Yeah.
She did not think, oh my gosh, how is this going to affect them? I'm sure, like, you know, she actually cares. She cares about Gus, obviously.
Right.
And the idea of marriage was more of like an excitement thing for her, but I think she really believes that she could be happy with him. It's just, holy shit, my family, I forgot about the kids.
You're right. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't realize that what I did is totally gonna, change our life, everyone's lives.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think she feels like she can't even tell them because they're
Yeah.
going to think she's insane.
yeah. Like, she,
Yeah,
she
definitely, and it's just part that like. I don't know. He just shows. I mean, first he just shows up, and they're at breakfast, and he's there, So it's also like if she is the mother figure. You also can't just do that stuff all the time to the
can't.
kids,
Right.
And I also found it weird just because she's just ignoring the fact that 2 weeks ago she was all into Sean, and so they're at
she just
the
bounces
diner
so
talking
quickly.
about and just like right in front of him, saying this stuff, and so for me that was a big jump to go on.
Yeah.
because I was like,
there wasn't really much closure between the two of them. Where
Well,
it was
he's
like,
annoyed,
no.
too.
Yeah.
You can tell
he was a little jealous.
Yeah, he was definitely making some comments about, oh, well, next time you're going to go get married, maybe you could call into work first and let
don't
us
lie
know.
about it. Is what he said.
Right.
Yeah, because we do see her start to do that stuff again. Missing her shifts, just being irresponsible, just because she's just going with something that she likes.
Yeah.
and it feels good instead of like taking the
I
responsible
mean, there are
route throughout.
definitely people, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
My parents got engaged after 3 months, and they've still been together
Nice.
almost 30 years,
That's
which is
awesome.
awesome.
It happens.
But I mean, this is 9 days, so
Yeah.
it's a little quick, especially because she keeps saying, well, I really like being around you when we're not having sex. Like the whole relationship right now has
it's
been physical.
Yeah.
So when they get some more alone time when that's not happening, and he starts to see the family dynamic, we'll
Yeah.
see whether he wants to stick around, I guess.
That's
Well, I think
true.
she's also kind of trying to figure out what does it mean for the family, because when she was like, "Oh, I'll clean the kitchen," and he's like, "Okay," and there's one dish to do in their kitchen where she's used to like having all these dishes too.
Also-
So I think that kind of triggered
Yeah.
like, wait, now how is this gonna work? Like, they're gonna have to move all the kids into a house together, and did she even think down the road about what was gonna happen to them or how this was gonna affect their lives?
Yeah, it hit her in that moment. I love when they first walked into his apartment after her shift, and it was just a wide shot of the space he had. It was so small, and it was something not to be ignored, because it's like, you can't fit everybody here. If this is where he wants to stay, it can't just be the two of them. Like, you can't bring the kids here. So you're right.
Right.
Like, they're going to, are they going to compromise and get a house? Is it even going to work out in the long run? What does it mean for them? And
Yeah.
she was sold on the fact that his parents have been married till now after being engaged, after meeting and then getting engaged 2 days later.
Right.
So that's something that I think gave her a little boost of confidence.
Yeah.
Maybe he takes after his family that way, and it seems like he would. Seems like he does.
Yeah.
It's a good catch, or so he says.
Yeah.
I believe him.
I do too. I think he's definitely a good catch, and I think he's a good person for
Yeah.
her. I just think that the decision wasn't the right one.
It wasn't the best.
No.
But if you remember when, to me, I always remembered Fiona as, being in love with someone isn't as big of a deal as like trusting somebody. Remember when she told Jimmy Steve a few seasons back, like, I trust you, and that's bigger to me than love. And that's when Jimmy Steve, we started learning about his secret life.
Right.
But for her, she just straight up said, like, I'm falling in love with you. So I wonder if she actually trusts him 100% yet. I mean, it seems like she does, but that to me was a little out of character for Fiona to just say that without, telling him that she trusted him first.
Yeah.
I'm just used to that. But yeah, so she's kind of going to struggle with that now. Deciding if what she did
They're just
was
on a
right.
high of emotions.
Yeah.
They
I think the first time they're together, he sings that song that really catches her, catches her soul. And it's such a perfect song for her. And I think just from that moment on, she's like, he knows me. He knows everything
Yeah.
about me. And I don't think that's the case. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I agree. I love how his last name is Fender.
Funny.
I love it.
With
I
the P in front, though.
Exactly. They
Fender.
made it subtle enough, and they added a P in front of his name so that Fender wasn't so coincidental. So that was more coincidental.
I wrote that down because he said, "Oh, that's fucked up," and
Yeah.
she goes, "No, that's fucking sexy."
It's like, I can't lose my job,
Right.
something like that. After she called out,
Yeah.
those their sex scenes were fun. They were fun to watch. Also fun to watch is Frank and his
Oh, boy.
quest to find out where the hell his money went Because if you remember from last season, after Carl broke his leg, he got a huge settlement of $121,000 from the insurance lady. And we
could
start the
change their lives.
episode. Yeah, it could change his life, could change our lives. So we start the episode of him waking up in the middle of nowhere with pigeon poop all over his body. So we know that he blacked out. Who knows what happened the night before. He goes to the insurance lady's house. I forgot her name. And he asks her where his money is, and she's like, you got it. Like, it was delivered yesterday. It was Tuesday. He's like, what? Today's Tuesday. So turns out it's Wednesday, and he says, I don't usually black out unless I'm smoking crack, which later we find out he was when he gets into the Porsche that he bought for $60,000.
Yeah.
But Frank goes through, he traces his steps back to see where his money was. So he starts off with the insurance lady, and then he goes to the bank because she told him that he deposited, I believe. But the bank says he cashed that money. So he's like, what the hell did I do with it? So he just stumbles into the bar out of nowhere, but he gets, praises from
Like
the
a standing
denizen.
ovation when he walks in.
Yeah, because he spent like $2,000 at the bar. So he starts deducting that money. He's like, okay, that I should have this much.
Right.
He gets prompted to check his pockets, where he finds a set of keys for a Porsche, and he ends up finding that Porsche. So that's his next step. And he runs into Kermit, who was sleeping in the car the whole time. And turns out he spent the whole night with Kermit partying and stuff after the bar.
And the car is wrecked.
The car's wrecked. It's a mess. Like, it's scratched. Everything is messed up.
Windshield's cracked.
Yeah. So Kermit mentions that they were in Chinatown for some dim sum. They go to this Chinese restaurant, which has a sketchy downstairs. And there's, illegal gambling and hookers and stuff down there. And then we start getting the flashbacks of Frank and what he did the night before, which was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
Well, and you assume that he lost all of his money gambling, and then you find out that he actually doubled his money gambling, and then he's going, well, then how the hell did I lose all this money?
Yeah. So after they leave the Chinese restaurant in his stupor, he goes back to this hotel room and with the Chinese hookers, and he's told that he was hanging out with this guy named Diamond, Buddy Diamond, who owns a company or an organization called Diamond Appreciations, which is such a misleading company name. Perfect. So he calls Buddy Diamond because he left his card at the hotel, and Buddy's like, you made the best investment, come check it out. And Frank goes to find out that he invested in 6 prosthetic limbs for homeless children, which is amazing.
Yeah.
What a great thing to invest your money in, and Buddy Diamond is so happy he did that. But Frank is like, hell no, because he needs that money to bring his brewery back up. So what does he do?
Another situation of something, like really good that could happen, and then they totally spin it and make it like inappropriate.
I know, I was kind of cringing watching it.
Yeah, this one little girl is getting a new prosthetic leg, and he says, I need my money back, and Diamond says, you can't have it back. We bought all of these prosthetics for these kids. Isn't it great? And
because
then
they each cost $60,000.
Right. And then he goes and steals this little girl's prosthetic leg, and she grabs on, and then he drags her around the room.
Oh my God.
And then you see her one leg, and it's just like...
That's the part where I was sitting by myself in my living room watching this going, oh, no way.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way this is happening
And
right
laughing
now.
hysterically.
Exactly.
Don't you feel bad sometimes laughing at this stuff? But that was like the funniest part of the entire episode.
It was funny. I mean, Frank is so desperate to get this money back. He'll do anything, clearly. I feel bad for the homeless kids, but I feel so bad for Frank.
To not get it. Yeah, I just thought it was such great writing on this one, because we kept like waiting and waiting and waiting to find out, what happened to this. So that made just that last moment of him fighting with that little girl is just so great.
Yeah.
It was just the build up made it pay off.
The
It was
Frank
awesome.
we all know and love. I mean, he has a new liver, but he's certainly not a new man. But that's Frank. That's his life. He tries to get what he needs in any way possible, by any means necessary. So after that happens, him and Carl, by the way, Carl was present for all of this.
Yeah.
Right.
He saw all of this happen.
Chinese hookers and all.
Which made Buddy Diamond think that this is why Frank did what he did, because Carl's in crutches and whatever is your ailment, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Carl even is like, dude, my leg's not that
It's like,
bad.
it's fine. So brave. By the way, Buddy Diamond was played by Sam Lloyd, who's Ted the lawyer in Scrubs. I love him. He's great. It was cool to see him on something else. I haven't seen him in a long time. So after the Diamond Appreciations organization, they stopped in front of the building. I suppose it was like a whole establishment. It's in front of Delacroix. I read that on the building, so I thought maybe it was another hotel. Because there were bellboys, it looked like. I could be wrong. But those bellboys ran over to Frank as he was sitting on the curb with Carl, and they started, they punched him. Like, he ran over Dimitri. So we find out that the last thing he did, I suppose, was run over their friend Dimitri, who's in a body cast in the hospital. He's alive, thankfully. But that's why his Porsche was so banged up, was because he ran over Dimitri. But they wanted him to pay for his health care, for his surgeries and stuff. Obviously, Frank is flat broke at this point. So he gives them the Porsche instead, and they reluctantly take it. But that was the end of Frank's night. We find out what happened. So he lost everything, just like that.
Oh, Frank.
All because he wanted to celebrate not being in the poverty line anymore.
Right? I like how they end it, though. Once the hunt is over, him and Carl are sitting on the stoop of the house drinking that $2,500 bottle of wine. And Frank's chugging it, and then he finally gives it to Carl and is like, just drink it with me.
Yeah. It's like, what's the point? This is left of my fortune.
Right.
Let me share it with you. But yeah, that's that for Frank. I don't think he'll ever see that kind of money ever again.
I don't think Frank can have money
and
in
be
the show.
coherent.
I think it just changes his whole dynamic.
Yeah.
I mean, if he actually kept that $121,000, he still wouldn't invest it correctly or use it. I mean, he would have bought Paul probably, because that's him.
But I feel like there will be people in that part of town who would have bought Milk of the Gods. Milk of the Gods was, he wanted to
right, he wanted to rebuild
the brewery.
Yeah.
So I feel like if he did that, I think he would have been successful to an extent. I think he would have made some profit. I mean, he would still be Frank, but it would have been something he could aspire to complete and to do. And that would have been interesting to see in terms of character growth and trajectory.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I hopefully will learn that side of Frank at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah. But that's kind of all I have for all the characters. Do you guys have anything to add that we didn't touch upon yet?
No, I think we covered a lot of it.
Yeah, I think that's all I had. Except that I did just my favorite little ballad was Gus's Ballad of Sweaty Balls.
Oh, yeah, that
Did
was
like
funny.
that one.
I like that sweet moment of their opening, they pan in on Fiona and Gus, and they're just lying in the bed.
Yeah.
It was cute.
Well,
She
they're
was
definitely
comfortable.
cute together.
I mean, he makes her feel sane, like she said. And it's finally her shot at, a normal relationship, a normal part of her life. But we'll probably see that chaos will come back. Uh-oh. Speaking of that, let's get into predictions. Maybe we can predict some of that chaos.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Go first, JJ. Go on. What do you have?
All right, I have two. I think bad stuff is gonna come with Carl. I think he's really gonna get into this drug dealing stuff and just get into a lot of danger and get himself way too deep.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's either gonna learn the lingo and then start selling and then doing really, really well, and then
That's kind of what I think is gonna happen.
Then and then he's gonna he's gonna maybe get then in a big I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I definitely think he's gonna get in over his head and he's gonna be in too deep with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And then one just popped into my mind while we were talking today, and I think that I think Debs could get pregnant
Ooh.
from her rape. Is that possible? If he was,
I mean, if the condom didn't work,
That would be a huge twist.
I guess she did wear.
Yeah.
She did use a condom.
Yeah, but I mean, who knows what could happen?
Anyway, I was just the only reason I thought of that. I was like, oh, wouldn't that be interesting? Because she said make the Planned Parenthood appointment.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that if they were, instead of getting birth control, if she had to go through an abortion or something like that. So
You never
Maybe.
know. I mean, this show could go
Maybe.
anywhere. you
Yeah.
know?
What do you got, Hayley?
I don't know. I think that Fiona is going to end up cheating on Gus with Sean again. I don't think that relationship's over. just
Yeah.
yet.
It's a good one.
So they probably did that on purpose, not kind of close that storyline.
Yeah, because I mean, they had no closure whatsoever. So I don't think that's done.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Jimmy Steve's still in there somewhere. Like he's definitely not
Yeah.
gone forever
He's coming
too.
back.
So
For
That's
sure.
why I wondered if she has to even get this annulled or something.
Yeah.
Because for him to be able to come back and
Yeah.
Right.
them
That's
end up
true.
together.
well, and we didn't see the girl in the restaurant again, Angie
Yeah.
giving her money. So she'll be back, I think, too, at some point to continue that storyline.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's not done yet either.
Yeah, I don't think this marriage is going to be perfect by any
Yeah.
means. I think that once Lip finds out Fiona got married, that combined with the fact that maybe he's unsure of this life that he's going down, getting a career and getting a degree and stuff, getting a good job, it's going to be easy for him to come back home. And maybe not because he's mad at Fiona, or maybe not because he thinks that she won't be able to stay home and take care of them, but because maybe he wants her to live like a normal life, a nice life with a nice man. So maybe he'll come back and stay in Southside Chicago and not go back to school and sort of throw that part of his life away for a while.
Well, and we did see in the trailer that he's shooting up
Exactly,
things
he
with-
came back
with
and
Mickey.
Yeah. It seemed
Yeah.
like he was sort of in this that lifestyle that it looked like he was trying to get away from before.
Well, and those two are battling over who's more South Side. Is
Yeah.
that what they're saying?
Oh, yeah.
And they totally set him up. We can see him running from the
Yeah.
cops. So
That's true.
I'm hoping he doesn't screw everything up.
Yeah,
Some
me too.
crazy things in Lip's future. That's
Yeah.
for sure. All right, guys. Well, that's
Woohoo.
it for our episode 4 recap for Shameless Season 5. Again, if you guys really liked this podcast, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. And if you liked hearing us talk and want to see us and hear us talk more, you can follow us on Twitter. My name is Joyce. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JAJOURI. And JJ, where can everyone find you?
I'm at Twitter at JJ Jurgens, Instagram JurgensJJ, and on my blog TomGirl.tv.
And then you can follow me on Twitter at Hayley Clover and also on Instagram at Hayley Clover.
Cool. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.